So I just had the experience of jumping on the Zoom press conference for the New York Liberty. I watched today's New York Liberty Seattle Storm game and wanted to jump on that press conference because I got the link and I was provided a link by the New York Liberty PR team. Unfortunately, I didn't get to ask a question. I had my hand raised. There were like 8 or 9 people in the Zoom link, and only one person who had his hand raised got to actually ask a question. Um, they held the Zoom people off until the end, and I thought if your hand was raised, you get to ask something. Well, apparently I'm new to it, so apparently you only get one person because there were 3 hands raised, mine and 2 others, and only one person got to ask the question. So unfortunately, I didn't get to ask my question, but I did get to watch the press conference live on the Zoom link. And you only have about, probably from what I could hear in the background, like 5 or 6 people that actually asked questions in the press conference inside the building. Nonetheless, let's talk about this Liberty game because the questions and answers, I don't have the recording yet of it because it's not available yet on YouTube to talk about. But for starters, the Liberty lost this game 79-70 to Seattle Storm. They got blown out of the building in the second half. They were leading by 3 at halftime, 44-41, and then got outscored 22-6 in the third quarter, turning the ball over left and right and left and right and left and right, finishing with 15 turnovers. They gave up 20 points off of the turnovers. Um, so yeah, it didn't go well for the Liberty on their home floor. They fell to 12-6. Seattle improved to 12-7. But let's talk about all of this. Welcome back, everyone, to another edition of Rudy's Rant, Her Game, Her Way, Women's Basketball. We talk facts over feelings. I'm your host, Rudy Rodriguez. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, ring the bell. Tonight, we got Sunday Night Heat popping off. Can't wait to get on this thing. I mean, I saw Ben's video today on the excerpts of this book from Christine Brennan. By the way, I pre-ordered this book. I have it on Tuesday. I'm going to read this whole damn book, and I'm gonna be like him, going piece by piece. I mean, there'll be so much content from that damn book, it's gonna be insane. But talking about today's game, the Liberty are still playing without players. They're missing players from their roster, from their lineup, and it's absolutely having a major impact on the success of this team. Jonquel Jones, her not playing is crippling the New York Liberty. Hell, Sabrina Ionescu was asked a question where she basically co-signed that. Why are we struggling? She was asked. Well, we're missing 3 starters, from a few games. But now we're missing 2 starters. I mean, so that was her response. I wish I could play the recording of the video, but of course it's not up yet on the Liberty website. That said, it's one of those things where you there's an acknowledgement that they're missing something. There's an acknowledgement that almost that they can't win without her. Yeah, they got one win over the Sparks. They are 2-5 in their last 7. And of those, all 5 of those losses are without um I'm sorry, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They're 3-6 in their last 9. They without Jonquel Jones, they are struggling incredibly. They did beat the Chicago Sky without her, but they lost to the Indiana Fever without her. Then she came back for the game against the Dream, but then she played that game in full. They won that game. Um, and then the next game against the Mercury, they lost. She got re-injured and only played 9 minutes of that game. Yeah, she played 9 minutes and was out of the game. They lost that game. So the games without Jonquel Jones, they are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They're 2-6, 3-6, 3-6 in games without Jonquel Jones. They've lost every game. All of their losses have come without Jonquel Jones. They're struggling incredibly without Jonquel Jones. There was a stretch in the third quarter where they just kept turning the ball over. But beyond that, they kept settling for threes. They're missing size badly. Isabel Harrison also went down with an injury in this game. Brianna Stewart was awful, 4 of 17 from the field. But then even Sabrina Ionescu, who played well in the first half, the second half was just a thing to forget. Couldn't make a jump shot. I think she only had 2 points in the second half. Out of her 22 points, she only had two of them in the second half. She finished 22, 9, and 6, but 7 of 19, and she couldn't really buy a bucket in the second half. She kept jacking threes that were not the greatest of shots. There was a situation where, again, like I said, they were turning the ball over. And then they had nowhere to go but jack a bunch of jumpers. They weren't attacking the basket. And without Jonquel Jones to park her big ass down there in the paint, get the ball and get that easy bucket that she's so good at doing, they don't have that. If you look at their roster right now, it's a bunch of guards and a small forward. Brianna Stewart's a 6'4", 180 pounds. She's a small forward. She's not a power forward. She's 170 pounds listed. She's not a power player. So you're talking about Brianna Stewart, Kennedy Burke, who's 6'1", Leonie Fibich, who's a wing, who's 6'3", 6'4", but she's a wing. Um, Natasha Cloud, Sabrina, Nyara Sabli comes off the bench. She's 6'5", but she's just an okay fill in. Um, so that's a big problem that they're having right now. They've lost 2 games in a row to Seattle without Jonquel Jones. And that size when you're playing Seattle. Seattle's a big team. They have size up front. And in this game, on top of that, Dominique Malonga went to work. Dominique Malonga in the third quarter served the Liberty up on a plate. It was like lunch for her. 11 points, 8 rebounds, 5 of 7 from the field. She was getting easy buckets around the rim. They could not guard her. Her length gave them massive problems. She did all this in 10 minutes of action. Absolutely crushed them in the third quarter. Specifically, we can look at the third quarter. This is the quarter that they ran away with the game. But you have Dominique Malonga comes in the game. Where is it? Right here. She hits a bucket with 2:37 to put them up 7. She puts another bucket. She hits a free throw to put them up 9 with 121. She hits another bucket at the buzzer going into the end of the third quarter to give them a 13-point lead. Did I miss anything here? She just seemed to be everywhere. Her length was bothering the Liberty without a doubt. Her length was absolutely bothering the Liberty. She played extremely well in her action there. Let me see. I know she played some of the fourth quarter. Yeah. Then a minute into the fourth quarter, she hits a layup of 9:15 to make it 67-52. 8:36. Malonga again, 6-footer, 69-52. 8:06. Malonga again, an 8-footer makes it a 19-point game. She gave him the business, man. She gave the New York Liberty the business in a 8-9 minute stretch. She scored all 11 points in that stretch. She just absolutely took them to the cleaners. The size is definitely bothering the Liberty. The Liberty are badly in need of Jonquel Jones. And this is what goes back to when you have situations where, and this is what my question was going to be to her, to Sandy Brondello, was you're struggling incredibly without Jonquel Jones. What do you do and how do you figure it out when you're playing a bigger team like this to stem these types of runs? Because what was happening in this game was they were just jacking bad shots. They're turning the rock. They're turning the rock over. Just to give you an example, Seattle's down 3 going into the third quarter, and Sabrina starts up a 30-footer brick. Brianna Stewart misses a layup. Cloud hits a couple of free throws. Turnover. Here's a 5-footer missed. Another 3 shot. Another turnover. Another layup miss. Another long 3 miss. It was another turnover. It was another 3. I mean, how many layups they missed? Brondello definitely called out all the missed bunnies around the rim, which they had. But it was a combination of things, taking bad jump shots and turning the rock over. Like, you can't do that. They scored 6 points in the third quarter. I thought we saw the dog shit from Vegas scoring 7 points against The Fever the other day in the what was it? That was the third quarter. That was the second quarter. That was the second quarter. But they were turning the ball over left and right in that third quarter, and they never at any point dumped it down into the paint. There was never an attempt to get the ball on the block, get an easier look. It was nonstop jump shot, jump shot, jump shot. The run that the Seattle Storm went on was, I mean, they were outscored them 22-6 in the third. And yeah, let me see what the exact count was. It was like 15-2 or something like that. Yeah, because they're at 44. They got it up to 55-46. That would have been a 16-2 run. Covering the end of the second to the third. And that the game never got close. It got worse, in fact. In the fourth quarter, continued jacking jump shots, not good looks. And yeah, the Seattle Storm pretty much put the game away in the first 5 minutes of the fourth quarter and ended all conversation here. Brondello did talk about the fact that they are missing size. She did talk about the fact that they are, they missed a bunch of bunnies, which they did. This league is filled with missing layups. We've seen this before. But Seattle utilized their size, and I don't think the Liberty adjusted to it. I think Sabrina Ionescu has to make a much more concerted effort to attack the basket rather than jacking 30 footers. You know, she had 2 points in the second half. I'm going through this again. Let me see right here. The only bucket that she scored, she made a layup with 3:45 left. That's her only basket in the second half. So she did nothing in the second half. And look, she flat out said it. We're missing starters. So the excuses are being made in-house. And here's the thing. I actually agree with her on some of the things that she said, but you have to figure out a way to overcome it. You've got to figure out a way. Here is the press conference, actually, as it's now posted, and I'm glad I'm still talking here. But here is the actual press conference, and I'm going to show it to you. So here's the press conference. I will play it for you. After all this, I had my hand raised to ask a question. They only give you, 10 minutes for a press conference. To me, is not enough time for a post game press conference. But it is what it is. I'll do my best next time to get a question. And I raised my hand. That's all I can do.
That third quarter was kind of what did it in for you guys. Just what happened there?
Yeah, they came out and executed, and we didn't. And we didn't have enough fight there. And to score 6 points, it's not what we're about, but we struggled to score in that second half here. Their switching bothered us, and I think we went away from probably what worked in the first half. But for me, it's not the offense. The defense, I just think we have to get a little bit tougher and a little bit more urgency and what we're giving up there. And disappointing effort overall.
And then Sabrina, what were they doing in the second half to limit you then compared to the first half?
Yeah, some trapping, some switching, trying to deny everywhere. In turn, I think just our turnovers led to easy baskets for them, and then they were able to set up their defense, and we weren't able to just get out and transition and run like we did in the first half, which is just tough when there's people flying out. Obviously, their length, they're a great defensive team, and so I think just continuing to kind of keep us on our heels and not on our front foot turned into that third and fourth quarter for us.
Gotcha. Hey, Sandy. Any word on Izzy yet?
No, she's getting some imaging done, so until we don't really know.
And then you're thinking about the quick turnaround and the schedule that you guys have upcoming, and now potentially down to front court players. What are some things that you could do as a team?
Yeah, good point. At least Vegas a little bit smaller. That helps. But look, we've if someone's in and out, next person up, and Niara, obviously, she's just got to keep pushing through, and KB, and Leo doesn't usually play like that. That's just a tough game. She's it's a tough one all around. We just didn't play well in that second half. So I don't know until I know. I haven't got a plan, to be quite honest.
Sandy, I'm curious about the rotations, especially when the offense was really hard to come by in the third quarter. Maureen didn't come back out until the fourth.
Yeah, we went with Beck Sabrina was rolling there a little bit. It was more we needed big players, so we kept a big lineup.
Right. And
But Marine only had one shot, so even though we were trying to get her, so in the
Let me just say about this. What I do like, I did like listening to the questions from the people in the New York media because they're New York media. They're a little nicer about it than you hear in men's basketball, but these were real questions being asked about like you're questioning and that reporter's questioning her substitution patterns. You know, there was questions about Natasha Cloud. Apparently, she got hit in the third quarter or something like that. I didn't notice it, and that's why she didn't come back in the game. But I'll continue to play the interview for you. I mean, the press conference for you.
action. So I don't know if she was going to help.
and Rebecca, for you, I guess I'm just curious if you could describe to us how you thought the Storm's defense really bothered you guys.
Yeah, I think like Coach Sandy said, is they were switching a lot, so that made us a little bit stagnant. But we just got to get back to what we're good at, which is like moving the ball, passing to each other, assisting. And once we can get back in that rhythm, we'll be good.
Hi, everybody. For Sandy, what's the team that switches as much as Seattle? Is it something where you sort of like want the group to sort of be like half a beat quicker to sort of like adjust for that? Like, how do you think would be the best way to sort of counteract the defense?
Yeah,
like that?
we got to move the ball. That's how you exploit switching. We don't have big fives, so we could just throw it into them and they're swarming. The points in the paint, you have 44. We missed a lot of layups at the rim, but a lot of it because of their obviously length is coming in and now finishing fine. Their rotations were all on point there. But to go 14 from 40, that's obviously not a great percentage. So we got in there, but I think that because we had less success, we stop attacking closeout. You have to attack these closeouts because they're big and they're strong, and you have to attack the mismatch where we can.
She mentioned attacking the closeout, attacking. I completely concur. They did not. They just settled for jump shots. They settled for a lot of jump shots in that third and fourth quarter, and they were not aggressive to the rim. But I think that has to do with the lack of size. They're missing size, and she mentioned that as well. They're missing size, and they're small right now. Your biggest player is a third string center who's 6'5", who's limited in skill, and then your next biggest player is 6'4", and that's Brianna Stewart, but she's not a big. She's a wing. So, yeah, she's hitting on the head to me.
And then finishing fine. I just think we just got a little stagnant. Didn't move the ball as well, or space the floor, or attack closeouts as well as we should have.
Hello, all. Sorry it didn't go your way today. My question will be for Coach. What led to Natasha Cloud sending out the fourth quarter, especially after accounting for all scoring in the third?
Yeah, she got hit. She couldn't come back in, so she got hit. So I had to sit her, and so hopefully she'll be okay too. We'll see.
Here, have insight.
Hey, Coach. Brittany Wallace from 9450. We witnessed a lot of periods of stagnation and inefficient spacing today. Can you just talk to, was that Seattle's length? Was that them switching? How do you counteract that moving forward?
Yeah, look, I think it was their switching is bothering us. We don't have a big inside presence like JJ. We're easy to switch. We didn't move the ball. We didn't space. I mean, they're things that we've been switched a lot this year. As long as we have good spacing and then confidence. I think our confidence went away. We didn't attack closeouts. I think Leo, she just was overthinking a little bit too much when she made some turnovers. But you just got to stay on your front foot. I mean, at least that's what Beck does. Beck's not afraid. She might take them on. That mightn't always be success, but at least she's getting to the rim. We had 40 attempts at in the paint. That's a pretty high number for us. We just didn't finish. And then I think we just didn't, we probably play a little, like I said, stagnant. We didn't move the ball as.
Oh, you hear that question? I mean, that question is that's a good question, and that's and the response I got it. Look, man, Sandy Brondello is telling. She kind of called out one of her players, Phoebich. I think that's what she's talking about is Phoebich. She kind of called out her team. She did, and she mentioned Jonquel Jones again. You gotta wonder if this is if these are excuses or you have to figure out, Coach. You have to figure out a way to attack these situations. Obviously, you're a smaller team now, so what do you do without Jonquel Jones? What do? You got to figure it out.
as effectively as we should have.
Hey, team, hope all is well. Sorry didn't go your way tonight. Sabrina, you've now passed Maya Moore for 7th all time in 25-5 performances. What does that achievement mean for you, especially given the names on that list? I know it didn't come out in the win tonight, but what does that mean to you?
Yeah, I mean, it means a lot. Obviously, wanting to just have an overall rounded game, understanding, scoring's important, but so is rebounding and passing. And I feel like every time I'm able to continue to get in the paint, drive and kick, finish for myself, find my teammates, try and get in there and rebound. Obviously, we're down bigs, and so tried my best tonight to get rebounds, second chance opportunities, and feel like I've done that my entire career, is just try and impact the game in any way that I can. And so obviously it's an elite group, and I'm thankful to be able to be amongst such great players. But I mean, I'm just trying to get wins.
Sabrina, obviously losing never feels really good, and you guys are down JJ, who's a big part of this team and what you guys want to do. But just with this rough stretch that you guys have been, how would you say the team morale is kind of at this point?
I mean, I think the team morale is great. I wouldn't say that a win or a loss has really divided the locker room or, really even put any type of bump in the road between us. I'd say we understand the pieces we've had missing. We understand the games we've lost and how we've lost them. And to be honest, a lot of the time we've beaten ourselves. Like, I think we understand when we're playing our best basketball, we haven't lost yet. And so for us, it's just understanding controllables. Like, we control that third quarter and we win this game. And so that's something that's in our control. We can, understand moving forward. That's, ways and areas of improvement. But at some point, we got to just find ways to get wins. It's not about pointing fingers, people are out or in, lineups we haven't seen, defenses we haven't seen. It's just understanding we got to find a way to get a win.
Sabrina, I guess I'm just curious why it's been so difficult for you all to find, creative ways to get a win.
Because we've been down 3 starters in the last Seattle game, and then 2 starters for all these entire games. Like, these are huge pieces of offenses, and there's no way around it. You can say that it doesn't affect the team or you just the next man up, but at the end of the day, we're missing our finals MVP. We're missing Leo for all these games. It's hard. Like, people have to step up in positions and play, and there's great teams in this league. It's not just going to be easy when you're down that many starters to just show up and we win because we're the New York Liberty. Like, you're going to have to find a way to win and dig really deep. And it's been tough. We just haven't been able to really catch a break, I feel like. And we'd rather see this adversity early on in the year and be able to hit the ground running when it really matters most. But, we're going to be just fine.
That was an answer right there. You do realize we've been down 3 starters, right? That was the response. Like, what's been, this particular reporter, I don't know who it is. I don't know the name. Just curious. It sounds so sweet, and it's just curious. It's almost like the way she asked the question removes the guard. It's skillful, actually. I'm just curious. What seems to be the problem with why you can't get away? It's like, we're missing 3 starters. We're missing Jonquel Jones, our finals MVP. Like, duh. Like, people don't get how good Jonquel Jones is. They don't get how important she is to that roster. She's their only legit big. She is the only legit big they have on that team. And if you're dealing with a team that has size around the rim, you're going to have problems. If you look at most of their games without Jonquel Jones, they're losing on the boards. They're losing most of those games on the glass. So without Jonquel Jones, you're losing the boards and you're losing her scoring. And she's saying, I'm missing 3 starters. Phoebich, I guess they were missing her as well. Like, when you're missing those types of players, it's hard. And I feel Sabrina Ionescu on this one. I do feel her. But I love the question and the way it was phrased. Like, but just curious. But like, bitch, do you not know who's not playing? I don't give a damn. This next man up mentality is all bullshit. There's a reason we have starters, and then there's a reason we have backups. Backups don't produce like there's not Jonquel Jones is one of the 10 best players in the WNBA. One of the 10 best. Would the backup be worth in the top 50? Like, you're not going to get that type of production. And I think that's something it's okay to admit it. It's okay to admit the reality, because I think people really believe that backups are supposed to come in there and get these wins. Look, for a 1-game sample, is it possible? Sure. For a couple games, is it possible? Sure. They're not missing one player. They've been missing multiple starters. This is the equivalent of the Fever being without Caitlin Clark, but then also being without Kelsey Mitchell or Aaliyah Boston. If they're missing Caitlin Clark and Aaliyah Boston or Kelsey Mitchell, they're not going to win. It's hard enough trying to win without Caitlin Clark. Without two of those three, it's going to be close to impossible, unless you get some level of a miracle and the perfect game. And when you're without a player like Jonquel Jones specifically for such a long period of time, because she's out for probably 6 weeks or something like that, she won't be back till after the All-Star break. If then, like, we'll see when she comes back, but that ankle injury is a problem. They brought her back too fast, and I think they're paying for it now. You got to think about these things for the long term of the season. But Serena Ionescu's response was perfect. Like, you not know who we're missing?
We'll finish on Zoom with Michael.
By the way, I had my hand up during this Zoom part too. I'm like, am I going to be picked next? We'll finish up on Zoom with I was like, okay, I got my hand up. There's another person in the hand. Like, are we going to get, I guess I got to raise my hand first next time. We'll see.
Yeah, thank you. Coach, this is for you, and it's a little bit following what you guys have been talking about. If you look at the league right now, you've got about 7 teams all grouped within like 6 to 8 or 9 losses. Is this also a matter of just how difficult trying to win any game in the league is, let alone if you have, like you said, 2 or 3 starters hurt or away? It just seems to me like it can be very difficult to gain momentum sometimes in the league now.
Yeah, no, I think that's accurate. I think, we have expansion, teams moved around. I think that's great for the league. There's more parity. You see LA, we had to fight hard, and next night they can go beat, another really good team that's had success against the top ones. That's great for the league. We are down. That's why we're not panicking. We are down 2 of our key players, and that's a part of it, and with how we built. So, we just got to get JJ back and then try and build some continuity and some chemistry from there. In the meantime, we got to find ways to win. And we didn't play at our best today. We're our own worst enemy at times, and continue to learn. But I think the league, every team is different how they play. It's not like everyone's playing 5 out. I mean, tonight it was a post up. Last game, everyone just plays to the strengths of what they feel they can exploit the opposition team. So it's fun. I mean, that's part of the chess game, isn't it?
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, guys.
Well, that will wrap this thing up, man. Glad I was able to show you the press conference, actually. I hope you stuck around for the entirety of it and my commentary. But I do thank the New York Liberty for granting me the ability to be on the Zoom. I just hope next time I get to ask a question when my hand is raised, because I think some questions need to be. I mean, I really want to hear what her thoughts are on the fact that they can't rebound the ball or they can't get inside buckets without Jonquel Jones. And what does that say and what she needs to do differently to address those issues, because those are issues that have to be addressed. You can't just keep saying, oh, well, we're missing Jonquel Jones, so we're going to keep losing. As a member of the Liberty, you can't just keep that attitude. We're going to keep losing because, well, Jonquel Jones isn't playing. That's the excuse. So it's the same thing with the Fever. They can't make the excuse if Caitlin's not playing. They have to step it up and do their jobs. But y'all let me know y'all thoughts in the comments. What do you think? Appreciate y'all continued support of the channel. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, ring the bell, leave a comment. And of course, jump on board tonight. Sunday Night Heat. The Heat is on. Holy Lord, it's going to be on fire tonight. That's all we got. Come on now.